Welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin, if you didn't know, and I do a bunch of bookish videos. Welcome to day 2 of Bookmas. Yay! 10 more to go! Anyways, because it looked that flat, like it looks very flat right now. Sorry y'all. It's just like a bad day for me emotionally too. Okay, we're just gonna continue on with the video. And this is one that should have been filmed a little bit ago, if I'm being completely honest. Today I'm going to be doing my wrap up for November. This is usually a video I post like the first couple days of the month. It's day 2 Bookmas, so this is a little late, and I hope that you guys are still interested in what I read in November. It was a rough one. We got through to 2 new series, and we tried some small little romances, which was a lot of fun. So, well, kind of. In the month of November, I read 5 books. I read 3 romances, read 2 fantasies. We started 2 new fantasy series that I'm very excited about, and I really enjoyed them, and I got into some fantasy. So that's what I was really excited for, just finally getting into fantasy, because for some reason I just could not read fantasy in 2024. I feel like that was the genre that I was just having a really hard time reading, and it made me sad because I love fantasy, and it's literally what started my addiction to reading. So I'm glad that I was able to read some because I was really missing it. I saw Kendall do this where instead of like doing the times that she read them, she did her most favorite to the least favorite. So I think we're gonna do that real quick. I'll put them in order. I don't have like all the other little analytics, like how many pages I read and stuff. I just am not prepared. I could do that real quick. Yeah, no. Yes. Should I do that? I think I should. Okay, all of my analysis were kind of wrong. In the month of November, I read 5 books and DNF'd once. Like, even reading romances in December is hard for me. Like, I just want to read fantasy. In total, for pages, it would be 1,513 pages. But the DNF book, I did read some. I just didn't count that book. No, it's like a little bit more, but not too much. Let's get into it. This is like my last book I read. No, second to last book I read, but it is my all-time favorite right now for November, and that was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. You guys know I love Cassandra Clare. I had read her Mortal Instruments series like the last couple books this year, and I absolutely loved them. I ate them up. And it's funny because the Mortal Instruments is probably everyone's like least favorite, or that's at least what I've seen. Everyone really likes the Infernal Devices. This is like the series that got them into it. I had a really good time reading this. So if you don't know, this is about Tessa Gray, and Tessa is going to live in London with her brother. She literally comes into London. Off the bat, she's kidnapped. They call themselves the Dark Sisters, and basically they kidnap her and pretty much force her to use an ability that she didn't even know she had, and she's like a shapeshifter, and she doesn't know where her brother is. Her brother's missing. They say that they have him, and that if she doesn't do what they say, then they'll kill him. So she does what they say, and then she's rescued by Will Herondale and Jem Carstairs. She learns about the Shadow Hunters and the Dark Worlders. She tells them that the Magister she was supposed to marry, and like he wants her powers. She asks the Shadow Hunters what she is, and they're like, we have no idea what you are. I loved everything about this book. I'll start with the plot. The plot was so fun. It mostly dealt with mundanes, and they were in this like pandemonium club. There was downworlders in it, but it was mostly surrounding mundanes. So we got to like look at mundanes as a bad one in like this cult. On top of that, we got to like basically the bad guys were trying to make these animatronic. It would be able to like destroy the Shadow Hunters, and I thought that was so cool. It was very different for the time period we are in, which is Victorian England. Not only have like the historical presentation of it, but then you have this bit. I really liked how it mixed, and it made it a lot of fun. For the characters themselves, I love it. I love the little trio we have because Jem and Will really care for Tessa, even though they've only known her for a little bit, and I think they're both kind of like fallen for her, but they will do anything for her. There were so many times that they were running to save her and running to protect her, and I loved it. Really feel terrible for Tessa because she is new to all this, and all she wants is her brother, and she doesn't know who she is, and she just feels like she doesn't belong anywhere. Jem is going through his own things. I literally cried. I love him so much, and he was just such a sweetheart, just a very strong character, and he came to Tessa's side a lot. Will reminds me of Jace so much. I mean, it's his ancestor, but they both give off that same sly type feel, but they're not going to open up to people because they would rather hurt them than get close to them. They're very similar, and I do not like Will. Will was so mean to Tessa so many times, and there was a couple other characters. Magnus Bane is in this book, and this is, I forget how, this is before before the Mortal Instruments series. Magnus Bane is in this, and I'm like so happy to be able to see him because I miss him. He's one of my favorite characters, and I just wanted to learn more about his backstory and everything he went through before the Mortal Instruments series. I had a blast. I flew through this. I really enjoyed my time, and I got to see so many little clues that we see in the Mortal Instruments series. People are right. The way that I would read it is I would definitely start with the Mortal Instruments series, but when it comes to, I believe, the last 2 books, I think it's like you want to read this series first and then go into that last book, because it talks about these characters and like I think the future they have, if I'm not wrong. Basically spoiled with what happens. Like I kind of know what's gonna happen, but I just don't know how it's gonna play out. I think read this series first and then read that last book, just so you know the inside of these characters, because some of them pop up at the end of the Mortal Instruments series. I wanted to give this book a 5-star, but this is the first book in a series and I want to give it room to improve and to get better, so I'm gonna give it a 4.75. I loved it. I love being back in this world. I miss the OG gang, but I had so much fun with this. This is just making me want to read the Mortal Instruments even more. I love her long chapters too. Like to me, it makes me want to read. It makes me read a lot. So I had a very good time reading this. I wanted to read the second book in December, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And I just wanted to show you the spine. You can see the animatronic right here with, I think that's Will, but that's the animatronic, and I thought that was very cool. So the next book that I want to talk about, and I think is like my next favorite, I want to say, is going to be The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I was so excited to get in this book because, well, I wasn't as excited. It was just one that I was like holding off for some reason, and I didn't know why. I think it's because I wanted to read it in the fall time because it gave me like those ghosty vibes. If you don't know, it's about Florence, and she is a ghostwriter for this famous romance novelist. She has this deadline for this book, and his editor is like kind of pushing her to do it, and she's like, I'm not ready, because she got out of this horrible relationship. She doesn't believe in love anymore, but then she has to go back home because her father passed away. Her family has this whole funeral parlor, and that's what they're known for, and Florence can see ghosts, and she kind of is known for that, and that's why she ran away from home. When she's home, her editor appears to her as a ghost. I loved the character development. I think Florence needed that, and I loved seeing that family vibe and them kind of healing and getting better with someone passing away. This was a perfect time in my life to read this because it made me appreciate the people that I had in my life. I haven't told y'all, and it's just a lot, but a lot of people have passed away, and from October to November, I've lost 3 people that I know and my dog. Just that alone is a lot. My boyfriend's family has gone through tremendous things these couple months, and everything that happened in these last couple months made me appreciate being able to meet those people and to know them, knowing that grieving is knowing that you loved that person so much. This book, I learned a lot. There were so many quotes in here that I was just like sitting and I was like, wow, because like I went to a funeral when I was reading this book, and I was just like really appreciative that I was in that person's life, and I just kind of learned with Florence, and this book made me cry. It helped me in the time of life that I was in, and like especially with Rocky, just thinking about it, like I miss him so much, but knowing that I got to love him his entire life. So I really enjoyed this. On top of that, I really love Benji and Florence because Benji really helped her, and I liked the friendship slash romance they had because it was very sweet, and they both were like each other's person. Like they were the person that made them get through who they needed to, and I think they both needed each other, and they needed someone to listen. I think they both needed someone to tell them like you are valid, and they just hadn't had that in their life. I just loved them. I loved Florence. I loved Benji, and it's just so fun being able to see them then, and then being able to go into a novel love story and being able to see their relationship. For this book, I gave it a 4 stars. I just had a fun time. It was a little slow at times, but like I literally didn't care. I was just in it for the ride. I enjoyed their story. I enjoyed the setting, and I had a good time. Next book. Okay, this is basically like the middle book, but I am so glad that I read it. I've been wanting to read it forever, and I needed to. That book is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and I got this book last year. I've been wanting to read it, but for some reason it's been another book that I've just been holding off. I think it's because some books are just so popular on Book Talk or BookTube that I'm so nervous to read because I'm worried that I'm not gonna like it or it's not gonna hold up to its expectation. And this was one of them. Like everyone absolutely drooled over this book, and I really liked it. My most favorite part about this book was the setting, because you have this war going on with gods. It's kind of like, Gave me like historical vibes, and I really liked that. The only thing that got me was I didn't enjoy the fantasy as much because it was a romantasy, obviously there's, so that it was more romance heavy. But when it came to the plot, it was like, we talked about her brother going missing in the first couple pages. It was never talked about until like the last bit of the book. This was like the whole reason for this book is because you're trying to look for your brother, and like, you're not doing that. That kind of was bugging me, and it got really slow. Like in the beginning, I was really excited for this book, and then it was kind of when we had this switching point, it started slowing down. I think it was because the plot wasn't happening. We were kind of going day by day with them. I liked seeing that, but I also wanted more from the fantasy bit. I absolutely love Roman and Iris's relationship. They had a connection there. They thought they were opposites, but they were really, really similar, and just the typewriters was so fun. Like the history to it and how they came to be. It was a very special, like it had this like light of magic in it, and I really enjoyed that. That's all I really have to say. Like I don't really have a lot to say on the book. I am really excited to read the second book. I'm just a little worried because I know people were saying that that wasn't their favorite book, and it kind of lost its touch. But this isn't my favorite series, but I did really enjoy it. I'm gonna give it a 4. I thought I was gonna give it like a 3.75, but I gave it 4. I liked it, so I had a fun time. That's all I have to say on this book. Now we're gonna get into the books that just didn't really do it for me. So the next book that I read was The Kiss Curse by Aaron Sterling, and this is the second book in the X-Hex trilogy because this third one just came out, I believe. I didn't like this. I didn't even like the first one. Like the first one was good. It gave me those Halloween vibes that I was looking for. But the romance itself, I really didn't care. And I was just kind of going through it, you know? This book, it really didn't do it for me. Basically, it's about Gwen, who is Ian's cousin, and then Wells is Reese's brother. They kind of get together, and off the bat, for some reason, Gwen is like hates Wells because of something that happened in school, because he told her that she like didn't know what she was doing with the spell. She was like, oh, and then from that day forward, she like absolutely hated him. And I was like, but you're saying you're like enemies because he talked back to you? It's not enemies to lovers. That's not. That's just, you just mad that someone stood you up. Like halfway through, I was just like, ugh. And every time I was reading it, I was dreading it, and I just did not have a good time with this. I didn't like it. I loved Wells, but I hated Gwen. I thought Gwen was like this nice, lovely person, but then when it came to Wells, she was so mean. Like so many times she just gave this attitude. I was like, what are you doing? All talk but no bark. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I just didn't like her. And I liked her in the first book more than Vivi, but then I read her book and I was just like, no. Kind of had this arch nemesis going on because he opened up a shop kind of like Gwen's. They were trying to like pushing back and forth, and I kind of liked that. But other than that, I just was not obsessed with them. I didn't care for the story, and things were just not it. You know, I just didn't like it. This book, I think I gave a 2 stars. Didn't like it. And I don't think I'm gonna read, I'm not gonna read the third book in the series because I just don't care. I just did not care for this book, and it just wasn't pleasurable reading it, and it was just a chore. It made reading a chore. I have too many books on my TBR to sit and read a book that I don't like. This book didn't work for me. It could obviously work for you. Everyone has different tastes, so definitely still try it out. We're gonna get into the last and final book, and I did not like this one at all. It is a very hyped up book. That book is better than the movies by Lynn Painter. So I wanted to like this book so freaking bad. I went to pick this up and I was like, yes, like I'm finally reading this and I'm excited to read it. No, I liked the plot. I thought it was gonna be a cute, fun plot. They're gonna fake date to try to get her to be with this one guy. Like, I thought that was like a nice, cute little rom-com-y book. Liz was horrible. She was so gross. And I know this is like, I think this is a YA book, and you know, it's a little bit of a younger audience. I get that. They're in high school. That's totally fine. I can still do some books like that. But this girl literally felt like she was coming from middle school. She hugged her crush. She's like, this is our meet cute. We're gonna get married and have 3 kids and everything. And I'm like, no. Like, this is what I did when I was in middle school. Like, if I slightly touched the hand with my crush, I was like, oh. And that's exactly the vibe she gave off. Just did not like her. She was not a girl's girl. She was so rude to this one girl who just had a mom. Like, Liz's mom passed away, and she was so mad that this girl was showing off that her mom gave her a letter and she packs her lunch. On top of that, her crush liked this girl. I can't even remember her name, but Wes was like, oh, well, I'm pretty sure he likes her. And he's like, she's like, it's okay. Like, I'm gonna save him from that. It's better to love me. And I was like, gross, ew. Just very middle school vibes. Only thing I liked about this book is Wes. If Wes was going for another girl, I'd be so happy. This girl got threw up on. She got hit in the nose with a freaking basketball, and he took his shirt off. He had extra clothes for her. He did everything for her, and she was still like, why is he doing this? But I still love this guy, and like, he's not worth it. And I was like, I hate when they don't see someone right in front of them because this person is doing so much for them and it's like they're not worth it. And I feel like Wes deserves something better. Liz just gives off such an immature vibe, and Wes was there always and making sure that she was okay. And on top of that, more Liz hate. She was so mean to her family and her stepmom. Like one very characteristical thing in Lynn Painter's book is that her main female characters do not know how to communicate. Deal with like family issues. You've got to communicate that. Like it happened in Betting on You. It happened in this book. And she's basically just lost her mom. She gets the stepmom, and her stepmom wants to do all these things that she would have done with her mom, and she's not okay with it. If you're not okay with it, talk to her. Communicate about it. She's not going to force you to do it. If I was a stepmom to a girl who wouldn't communicate, I would want to know. If you are not okay with that, that's totally fine. I'm not going to step on your boundaries. But she doesn't even know she has boundaries. Like she's not communicating. And then on top of that, she kept saying like, I lost my mom, like that's the only reason I don't want to leave. What about your dad? Her dad, like she literally had a dad and she never acknowledged him. You lost two parents basically because you're like not thinking of him. So I did not like this book, and I'm glad that I DNF'd it. She wanted her life to be so picture perfect that it's like I know that if like Wes stepped on her toes or something didn't work out, she'd be dropping him. And I don't know, maybe I'm just talking like I didn't even finish the book, maybe she wouldn't, but like that's how I feel with her. If you got anything from these sentences, I just didn't like this book. Still would recommend, you know, books are different for everyone. This might work for you, but it doesn't work for me. That's the last book that I read this month. So that is the end of today's video. I'm so sorry that like I keep doing these videos too late and then the lighting goes down. In usual summer or spring, you know, like any other time, this is usually when I sit down to do videos. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so glad that I was able to read 5 new books, and I was able to finish my Goodreads goal with all of these. This exactly made me hit 60 books in 2024. I will be coming out with like a wrap up of the entire year, and I think that would be really fun because 60 books is a lot. I feel like I don't really realize that, but 60 books is a shiz ton. I'm doing a little bit more right now, you know, obviously because we have December left. It's been fun. I loved all these books. I liked reading in November. It wasn't the perfect month, but I still had a wonderful time reading. I will see you guys for Bookmas Day 3, but thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Please give a like and hit that subscribe button. I always stutter when I say subscribe, and the notification button so you know every time I post and you don't miss an upload by me, especially because it's Bookmas and it's 12 days and you gotta be here. This is a lot for me, okay? So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys for Bookmas Day 3, which will be tomorrow. I love you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.